Strive for perfection in everything you do. Take the best that exists and make it better. When it does not exist, design it. जी हाँ दोस्तों, these wise words come from the heart of a man जो अपने बचपन में अखबार बेचने का काम करता था, जिसको अपने यूथ देश तक ठीक से खाना नहीं मिलता था। बट यही सेम बच्चा जब इंजिन्स के साथ खेलता था, तब nobody could have imagined that one day he would create some of the most expensive cars in the world. कितना इनक्रेडिबल चीज है ना कि रोल्स रॉयस जो वर्ल्ड का मोस्ट एक्सपेंसिव लग्जरी कार ब्रांड है, उसको एक ऐसे बच्चे ने बनाया जो इतना गरीब था। तो ये बच्चा तो स्पेशल था, ये बच्चा इनक्रेडिबल था, ये बच्चा यूनिक था। इस बच्चे में जो बेस्ट बनने का आग था वो किसी में नहीं था। तो आइए आज के वीडियो में हम एक जर्नी पर निकलते हैं। द जर्नी इनटू द लाइफ ऑफ अ न्यूज़पेपर सेल्समैन फ्रेडरिक हेनरी रॉयस। हम देखेंगे हाउ ही क्रॉस्ड पाथ्स विद चार्ल्स स्टीवर्ट रोल्स, रिजल्टिंग इन द क्रिएशन ऑफ अ लेजेंडरी नेम रोल्स रॉयस. Two individuals from entirely different backgrounds work together to create the most prestigious car brand in the world. आइए स्टार्ट करते हैं इस रिमार्केबल कहानी को। Frederick Henry Royce, born in 1863, Alwilton, England. Henry was the youngest of the 5 children. उनके माता पिता जेम्स और मेरी एक फूलों का मिल चलाते थे। But James lacked the business skills, hence the profits were meager. कई सालों तक रॉयस फैमिली lived in poverty. 1867 में उनको bankruptcy face करना पड़ा and they moved to London seeking a better life. By this time, the 4-year-old Henry already had his first job as a bird scratcher on a local farm, earning 6 pence a week. Note this, सिर्फ 4 साल की उम्र में उनका पहला नौकरी था बर्ड स्क्रैचर का. It's remarkable how much this guy struggled to reach the very top. फिर 1872 में disaster struck as Henry's father passed away. All the children had to chip in to make ends meet, including the 9-year-old Henry, who began selling newspapers and delivering telegrams. गरीबी ने हेनरी पर गहरा प्रभाव डाला. By the time he turned 15, he had completed only 1 year of school. उन्होंने ग्रेट नॉर्दर्न रेलवे वर्क्स में काम करना शुरू किया. Despite not having a formal education, Henry grasped every opportunity to educate himself, studying algebra, French, and electrical engineering in his free time. उनका कोई कोर्स स्ट्रक्चर नहीं था. वो इतने गरीब थे कि उनको जब भी मौका मिलता था वो पढ़ लेते थे. बट आफ्टर 3 years he was forced to quit due to lack of money. देख रहे हो उनको कितना गरीबी फेस करना पड़ा, वो भी 19th century इंग्लैंड में जब यूके यूज्ड टू बी वन ऑफ द रिचेस्ट कंट्रीज. आगे देखिए कितना मेहनत करके अपने लाइफ को उन्होंने सुधारा. वो अलग अलग जगह काम करके पैसा जमा रहा था, कभी लीड्स, कभी लंदन, कभी लिवरपूल. बट his true ambition was to make engineering his full-time job. At 22 years old, he started a business with his fellow engineer Ernest Claremont. They named it F.H. Royce and Company, and for the next few years, they worked around the clock to make electrical components such as doorbells and dynamos. The company kept expanding, and by 1894, they were already making electric trains too. लेकिन हेनरी का इंटरेस्ट कहीं और था, motor cars. While Henry Royce plays a vital role in Rolls-Royce story, but the brand's name suggests there is another person that we shouldn't forget, and that person is Charles Stewart Rolls, जो 1877 में लंदन के पॉश बार्कली स्क्वायर में पैदा हुए थे. चार्ल्स रोल्स लैंगरटक फैमिली के सबसे छोटे बच्चे थे. He developed a passion for engineering from an early age and went on to study mechanical engineering at Trinity College in Cambridge. Charles knew how to stand out. Having gained the reputation of tinkering with machines, he earned himself the nickname Dirty Rolls. अपने पढ़ाई के दौरान he was the first undergrad to own a motor car. तब ये extremely unusual था क्योंकि उस समय पर आम लोगों ने कार के बारे में सुना भी नहीं था. 1898 में ग्रेजुएशन के बाद चार्ल्स ने एक स्टीम याच कंपनी पर काम किया और फिर उन्होंने लंदन एंड नॉर्थ वेस्टर्न रेलवेज को ज्वाइन किया. लेकिन उसको सेल्समैनशिप में ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट नहीं था. अपने फादर के फाइनेंशियल सपोर्ट से उन्होंने 1903 में ब्रिटेन में अपना पहला कार डीलरशिप बिजनेस स्टार्ट किया. उन्होंने कंपनी का नाम CS रोल्स एंड को रखा और अगले कुछ सालों तक वो कार्स को इंपोर्ट और एक्सपोर्ट करते थे. बिजनेस वाज बूमिंग एंड चार्ल्स यूज्ड द मनी टू फंड हिज स्पोर्टिंग एक्टिविटीज. एक पैशनेट मोटरिस्ट, पायनियर और रेसर होने के अलावा ही वाज आल्सो एन ईगर एविएटर. Both of these hobbies were very costly. Unfortunately for Charles, however, his lifelong passion would eventually cost him more than just his money. ऐसा क्यों? कहानी सुनो, पता चल जाए. When running his company, Henry became increasingly interested in motor cars. 1901 में he decided to build a car on his own. Henry had an instinctive desire for perfection. 1903 के अंत तक उन्होंने अपना पहला पेट्रोल इंजन बनाया. And by the next year, he drove his first Royce 10 HP motor car into the town. 2 डिकेड बीत चुके हैं जब हेनरी ने अपना कंपनी शुरू किया था. उनका पहला कार सक्सेस रहा था, इसलिए वो एक और बनाना चाहते थे. उन्होंने 3 कार्स बनाए, जिसमें से एक अपने बिजनेस पार्टनर अर्नेस्ट क्लैरेमोंट को दिया और दूसरे अपने एक शेयर होल्डर हेनरी एडमंड्स को बेचा. अब ये हेनरी एडमंड्स हमारे स्टोरी का बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट कैरेक्टर है क्योंकि यही वो आदमी था दैट अरेंज्ड द मीटिंग बिटवीन रोल्स एंड रॉयस. हेनरी एडमंड्स रॉयस के कंपनी के शेयर होल्डर थे और रोल्स के दोस्त भी थे. रॉयस की कार खरीदने के बाद he began boasting to Rolls about it. At that time, Rolls was frustrated with only being able to sell foreign imports in his company. इसीलिए एडवंस ने एक मीटिंग अरेंज किया between Rolls and Royce. पर एडवंस को ये नहीं पता था that this meeting would change the future of motor vehicles forever. While Rolls always preferred 3 and 4 cylinder cars, Royce's 2-cylinder vehicle made a big impression on him. कुछ ही मिनट्स के डिस्कशन में रोल्स को ये पता चल गया वो जिस चीज के तलाश में थे उन्हें वो मिल गया है. He took the motor car for a drive and agreed on the spot to sell as many motor cars as Royce could build. The two men made an unusual duo. लेकिन there was not only a massive age gap but also a gap in education. Royce was 41 years old while Rolls was only 26. Young Rolls had enjoyed a fancy education at prestigious Trinity College where Royce's skills were largely self-taught. While Rolls had spent his youth racing around in his fancy cars, Royce had been working hard to make ends meet. Henry Royce और Charles Rolls दोनों बहुत ही अलग-अलग किस्म के इंसान थे. But they made a great duo and the massive success of the cars led to the creation of the Rolls Royce company in 1906. यही पे मैं आपको रोकना चाहूंगा. To tell you, ये जो स्ट्रगल था रॉयस का बचपन से लेके अभी तक is just one half of its work he has done. इसके बाद भी सेम इंटेंसिटी के साथ कई एडवर्सिटी को फेस करते हुए he worked incredibly hard. चलिए वापस कहानी पे चलते हैं. 1906 के बाद लॉन्च हुआ द 6-cylinder सिल्वर घोस्ट और एक साल के अंदर इट वाज हेल्ड एज द बेस्ट कार इन द वर्ल्ड. इंप्रेसिव राइट? लेकिन इसके लिए दे आल्सो हैड टू थैंक चार्ल्स पार्टनर क्लॉड जॉनसन. एक ब्रांड बनाने के लिए एक विजन चाहिए. इसीलिए जब हेनरी और चार्ल्स वर बिजी बिल्डिंग एंड सेलिंग मोटर कार्स तब इट वाज चार्ल्स पार्टनर क्लॉड जॉनसन who took the role of a managing director. उसे पता था कि it was vital to expand company's reputation, so he promoted one of his early adverts for the 40 to 50 HP motor car as a 6-cylinder Rolls Royce, not one of the best, but the best car in the world. इस एडवर्टाइजमेंट के साथ क्लॉड ने एक ऐसा फ्रेज इंट्रोड्यूस किया that would forever be associated with Rolls Royce. It was incredibly effective, demonstrating Rolls Royce's superior performance and creating a global demand for its world-class engineering. Claude was so integral to the company's success, he became to known as the hyphen in the Rolls Royce. But अकेला marketing के दम पे आप business करा नहीं कर सकते. So both Henry and Charles dedicated themselves to delivering the best quality possible, ताकि वो उस advertisement को justify कर सके by building the best car in the world. But ये कोई आसान काम थोड़ी है. इसीलिए दोनों Henry और Charles worked day in and day out, but it was especially Henry who had the knack for pushing the limits when it came to work. आश्चर्य की बात यह है कि despite being a decade and a half older than Charles, he would outlive his business partner by a couple of decades. यही समय है जब हेनरी रॉयस और पूरे रोल्स रॉयस कंपनी को एक बहुत बड़ा ट्रेजेडी फेस करना पड़ा. In 1910, Charles Rolls became the first person to make a non-stop double flight across the English Channel. लेकिन सिर्फ एक महीने बाद सब कुछ बदल गया. During a flying display at Bournemouth, Charles was killed in an air crash at the age of 32. He became the first Briton to die in a plane crash, and his premature death meant the end of the short-lived Rolls-Royce partnership. Now Henry would have to continue their legacy on his own. Henry had an innate work ethic, and his innovative designs established Rolls-Royce's reputation for superior engineering and quality. He uncompromisingly pursued his basic principle of establishing the best design with both finest materials and the highest level of craftsmanship. उनका mindset अलग level का था. एक बार फिर से उनका famous quote सुनाना चाहूँगा. Strive for perfection in everything you do. Take the best that exists and make it better. When it does not exist, design it. Depth समझ रहे हो इस statement की? When it does not exist, design it. This is monster mentality. During the First World War, the company expanded into manufacturing something Charles had once requested: aero engines. आने वाले कुछ decades में the company did extremely well. Unfortunately, Henry kept struggling with his health, and in 1933, he succumbed into digestive tract problems. His death had been brought on by his early years of poor nutrition and a lifetime of overwork. He had spent much of his last years of his life as a partially disabled, but even that didn't stop him from working. His never-failing enthusiasm and his dedication for engineering prevailed, and he continued to work until the very last moment. Literally, his last sketch was made from his deathbed a few hours before he died when he was 70 years old. This is unreal work ethic. सिर्फ वर्क एथिक नहीं, इट्स sheer love and passion for engineering. बंदा खाता नहीं था, बंदा सोता नहीं था, फिर भी काम करता था. Even his disability couldn't stop him from working. आज के दिन Rolls Royce is one of the most successful luxury cars that money can buy. With over 130 dealerships spread over 40 countries, the brand is known far beyond Great Britain. Currently, Rolls Royce is owned by BMW, and the brand is still primarily known for producing some of the most expensive cars in the world, such as Rolls Royce Cullinan, Phantom, Ghost. Torsten Müller-Odvos has been CEO since 2010, and his leadership has been essential to the company's success. But it's actually the vision of Sir Henry Royce and Sir Charles Rolls that truly made Rolls-Royce what it is today. a symbol of pure unadulterated wealth, something that a true gentleman from heaven would be proud of. तो बताओ दोस्तों, आपका रोल्स रॉयस का स्टोरी कैसा लगा? कमेंट्स में अपना ओपिनियन शेयर करो। वीडियो अच्छा लगा तो वीडियो को लाइक कर दे, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दे और मिलेंगे आपसे जल्द ही अगले वीडियो में।